I just realized.
Welcome back into the High School Fan Zone on Wednesday night on 100.7 The Score. I'm Randy Rosetta. It's the Patriot Fan Zone now for the next 20 minutes or so. I'm joined by Liberty girls soccer coach Keelyn Ellison. If you're watching on TV, she's to my far left. And in between are the Cavazos twin sisters, 11 minutes older Aerin with the dark hair, Bella to my direct left. I met these girls last year. I think we did a podcast together, and we were just talking about how sometimes twins can be a handful. These two are not. They're not to coach. I don't think I've met their mom and dad, but I've met some other folks around your program who have talked about how these two have been your leaders from like day one.
Yeah.
And that's when you get two of them. When you get one leader, that's pretty good. When you get two who happen to be twin sisters, that's not a bad situation.
Yeah, the dynamic duo, if you will.
Well, they do a lot between the lines as well. And we're going to talk about that because, so every time I see you guys score, first of all, you guys are 9-1-3, correct?
8. Oh, well, yes. For including non-district, yes.
Yeah, have not lost a district match. But every time my guy sends me soccer scores, I get tears, and I see Liberty 8-0, and I checked with him a couple times. Are you sure that's this week? Are you sure that's tonight? Yeah, that's what she sent. You guys are not. You're hurting people's feelings.
Yes, trying not to, trying to be respectful about it, but
I mean that jokingly. But you're taking care of business, and
yes.
We'll start with you girls. You guys were good last year. Got to the playoffs. We'll talk about that. It didn't go exactly the way you wanted. We'll just do that very briefly in a minute. But what has made you guys so, I don't know if you are better, but you seem more locked in, more focused, better this year? Aerin, start with you. What has kicked in this year to make you guys even tougher?
Yeah, I think that after last year, we had a lot of first-time players, and that was just kind of like preparation. I think this year we kind of feel more prepared. We know what to expect. We just feel ready, and after last year, we're excited to go do better this year.
Bella, follow up on that, because when we talked last year, that was something, and Coach told me that as well. You didn't have a ton of girls who were experienced with soccer. Right. They became soccer players. That's tricky when you're, at the time you guys were 15 years old, you're having to be starters, key players, and also extra teachers on the field. How much different is it now that those girls are more used, or they're used to what you need to do on the pitch?
Yes, those girls have improved so much, and I'm just so proud of them for putting in the work. You can tell that they've put in a lot of work. And then we also have some new key players that have helped us a lot this year, and the girls who have been here since last year have stepped up to help those freshmen now, so it's helped a lot.
And there were a few. Keelyn, when we sat and talked, you had these two, Alyssa Cavazos.
Yes.
She's another one who's played for a long time. I know my wife knows mom and dad from being a teacher. There were some foundational pieces. You were a coach coming from a really good program that didn't have to worry about teaching girls how to play soccer. It was teaching them what it was going to take to win.
Right.
How did you grow as a coach during last season and then kind of figure out what to do in the off season?
There's a lot of patience and understanding of, hey, we're not quite there yet, but this is how much room we have to grow. And then this year with the incoming freshmen, we've added a few other players. The intensity that we're able to practice at during the off season, which ours was very short because I'm coming straight from volleyball. But that little bit of preseason, we're able to go hard from day one because we're not having to teach how to pass, how to shoot, how to dribble the ball.
So volleyball practices are pretty intense is what you're saying? Is that what I picked up on?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Caitlin, if Caitlin's nothing else, you don't play volleyball, do you?
No.
So
you did last year, but not this season.
So you guys, if you did, you got to adjust to much mild. Caitlin's going to kick me right in the shin. To a much milder mannered coach, right?
It depends on the day. They've gotten chewed out a couple times.
Which, when they get older, when your team gets older, you adjust. You can, you know that there is a need for tough love. Yeah. I'm wearing a Michigan State sweatshirt because I'm a big Tom Izzo fan. That's the king of tough love.
Yeah.
We're coming up on a break pretty quick here, but I want you to answer this when we come back. How have your girls adjusted to that as they've got mature? I mentioned last year, you guys finished, see if this sounds right. That still has your record from this year, I think. Maybe not. 15, no, it says 9-1-3. Here we go. 12-9-5. Got to the playoffs. Lost to El Paso Bowie 1-0. So it was a close playoff match, but it was still, watching your two basketball teams here this last week, I bet you can empathize with them a little bit. That close to taking that next step, that's going to be fire in these girls' belly. We're going to talk about that as well. But this team right now, they don't need much more fire in their belly. They're 9-1-3, leading, tied for the district lead. We'll be back to talk more about Liberty Soccer in the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. I'm Randy Rosetta.
Breaking down Liberty sports. This is the Patriot Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back into the final segment of the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. I'm Randy Rosetta. We're talking Liberty girls soccer because they are really good right now. They're off to a 9-0-3 start. 9-0-3. Soccer always baffles me a little bit because I'm used to the wins and losses, and I've got to remember those ties. Are ties fun? I've always wanted to ask soccer players that.
No. Kind of just feels like the game's unfinished, and you want to win.
So, in your district, Keelyn, do you, if you in a tie at regulation, do they do penalty kicks or is it just a tie?
In our district, it's just a tie.
Okay. Because you're coming from 5A where I think they do the same thing?
I don't remember off the top of my head. With the new alignment, things changed. Like our district voted whether or not to go to PKs or not, and they didn't want to. Okay,
because I think in the 6A district with Friendship, they do penalty kicks. And that's easy for an old sports writer dude. That's easier for me to deal with. When am I right? I think you guys maybe have met Jacqueline that writes for me, and she texted me the other night and said, this game was a scoreless tie. What do I write about? And I was like, I talk about how good they were on defense. You guys are good on everything. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Bella, we were talking about you got to the playoffs. It was a close loss. You learned from that. How much has that been motivation for you guys in the offseason and then ever since this season began?
Yes, I think that game, just how kind of heartbreaking it was for us, just not getting the outcome that we wanted, it's really pushed us to work hard every day, knowing that we're going to go to playoffs again and we're expecting better this year. And I think if anything, it's just been motivation for us to play harder and play tougher every game.
And you guys have grown. Everybody gets older and learns how to do things differently. We were talking a minute ago. This intrigued me when Liberty opened the first year about coaches having to sit players down to watch video. Aerin, how used to that are you getting now? Because you guys are just sophomores, correct?
Right.
You're like old, grizzled sophomores. How used to that part of being a varsity high school athlete are you now that coach is going to put that up on video, you're going to see it, process that, and then take it out onto the field with you?
Yeah, I think that we do it more this year than we did last year. And, when you're playing the game, you can only have one perspective, and watching it kind of opens up, like, how much more you can do on the field. And then taking it to practice, you realize, like, I've had all these options. I can do this and this. And it helps playing different ways and making better looks on the field.
Not that you guys don't think Coach Keelyn's smart coach anyway, but to me, video makes her seem like she really knows what she's talking about when she puts things out and shows it to you. How have your still young team, but how have they kind of adapted to that, to seeing different things now that they can take onto the field with them?
Yeah. They're definitely more aware of the shape that they have on the field as opposed to being like, oh, here, the ball's over here, let me all run over here. Making a space congested doesn't really help us to move the ball forward. It's, keeping our shape so we can distribute the other direction and then go forward, just as an example of that. They're able to see better what they look like, and it's not just, well, why is coach yelling at me? I'm not out of position. I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm with my mark. But as we transition to the attack or we're having to transition back on defense, our shape has to adjust a little bit, and they're more aware of what that looks like.
I'm going to ask you the same question I asked those two. Why are you guys so much better? What's flipped the switch even more? You were a very good team last year in year one, but why are you so much better now?
Addition to the program. I think that because we spend so much less time trying to teach soccer and we can really fine-tune what we're working on, we can practice with a lot more intensity because we're not like, okay, stop, that's not how you do this is how you do this. My assistant, Kendall Darden, is fantastic. So she's also seeing things that I'm not seeing because I only have 2 eyes. Like, I can't see everything all at the same time. She's very knowledgeable. She's coming from Lubbock Cooper High School, so they've got a tradition of success as well. So we're able to see a lot more things and work on more things because we have more eyes places.
She's also one of my favorite Dardens. I think she knows that.
I'm sure everyone would agree with you.
Yes, the list has grown. The one match in district that you didn't win, you tied Greenwood 3-3. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know you don't want your girls to look too far ahead. Did you play? Did you get weathered out yesterday?
No, we had a bye.
Okay, you had a bye. That's right. I knew that from the ride down to the basketball game. You play Snyder this week on the road at Snyder, and then right after that, Greenwood rolls into town. You get round 2 with them. So that's going to be a big one for the Liberty Lady Patriot soccer team. We'll be back next week on Monday with more of the High School Fan Zone. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score.